Quotation from myself, segment 16. Quotation number 193. The fate of the world's superpower can be compared to that of a dominant stallion possessing a herd of mares. First, he has attained this dominant position because of his superior to his numerous rivals other stallion strength. Then, having in his sole possession this herd of females, he has to protect such a monopoly by constantly fighting young and upcoming stallions and to prevent the individual mares from running away. He also has to service, so to speak, his herd of mares in order for them to produce the next generation of horses. This triple task will eventually exhaust this dominant stallion, their superpower, no matter how strong was he at the beginning, to the point that one day he shall inevitably lose a battle with the younger and stronger rivals and be deprived both of his position and his harem. Number 194. The so-called Platonic ideas, for example, idea of a chair, idea of a bed, etc., have been simply the expression of the purely physical needs of man to sit or lie down as comfortably as possible, considering man's specific type of body, its anatomical and geometrical proportions. At the beginning, the primitive man satisfied these needs by using the objects as they are found in nature. The gradual realization that some of these objects are more suitable for the intended purpose than others led to the progressive search for better and better ones, but still using them as they were found, that is, without changing them in any way. Taking an object as it is from a nature and improving it by the labor of man's hands marked the beginning of a new revolutionary phase in the relationship between man and nature, the phase of creativity. Next, from the improvement of already found objects, man gradually progressed toward the actual making them out of simple and separate elements and materials in order to satisfy the particular needs and in accordance with the preconceived ideas about form and substance of those objects, ideas produced by these needs in the first place. And finally, the last stage of this process, one which is probably endless, is making those man-made objects better and better in greater and greater varieties. Let's again take the chair, for example, and let's now try to retrace the entire process of its development step by step as it has been described above. First of all, by virtue of being erect and two-footed terrestrial animal, man has to sit down every now and then to get some rest. He can sit either on the ground floor or on some objects elevated above it. Anybody who tried both ways would agree that latter is preferable to the former. So at the beginning, any suitable stone or piece of wood, if available, would do, and as long as people remained nomadic, probably nothing more complicated was used. As a matter of fact, most of nomadic people even today prefer sitting on the floor. When people have settled permanently in one place, they also built permanent dwellings and brought those pieces of wood inside to serve as the first primitive chairs. Then they figure out that a chair made up of a seat and legs is more comfortable and easier to move around. The next innovation was the back of a chair to support man's own back. This basic design of a chair is still with us, and though seemingly infinite variety of it has been created They all serve one basic physical need of man, to sit. Thus, as we can see, the so-called Platonic idea of a chair is nothing more but the end result of the long evolutionary process of creating a perfect object for man to sit on and rest, and as such it certainly does not precede man, but on the contrary is developed by him, and therefore is neither eternal nor unchangeable. Number 195. One always have a choice. When young, how to live. When old, how to die. Number 196. The Italians have taught Americans how to be happy. The Jews how to overcome unhappiness. (197) We do not see not because we are blind, but because we have chosen to close our eyes. We do not hear not because we are deaf, but because we refuse to listen. What is happening around us is clear and simple. It is we who are confused and cannot see or hear the obvious. And we lie to the others and to ourselves. And that's how we live and die in voluntary ignorance. We dress the naked truth in garments made of lies, afraid of living and afraid to die. Number 198. Every nation has to and invariably does create a mythology of its heroic and glorious past in order to boost its collective ego and compensate, albeit only through an illusion of self-deceptivism and imagination, for what it is lacking in reality. But as history has shown again and again, any attempt to turn the mythology of the past into the reality of the present invariably bring about disastrous results. Such attempts are usually made when a particular nation finds itself in a state of temporary blindness caused by the nationalistic fever, the blindness that rendered this nation capable for the time being to see the clearly obvious for an objective outsider distinction between myth and reality. And it is in such times that people become the victim of their own glorious mythology and what was supposed to be a collective psychological remedy turned into a deadly poison. Number 199. Life is a continuous struggle. When we are young, we have to fight our spirit. When old, our body. The first half of man's life is spent trying to find out who he is, what the world around him is like, all the time striving to change both in order to reconcile one with the others. The discovery, for each man in his own way and time, of the futility of achieving either of these goals signifies the arrival of the so-called Middle Age. But just as we are about to make peace, both for ourselves and outside world, we are beginning to be confronted with the problems of our body, its deterioration and resulting from it illnesses. Consequently, the second part of man's life is spent, instead of enjoying the tranquility of his mind, in fighting the ailments of his own body, and eventually trying to make peace with it also. However, the second, physical peace, can only be achieved at the expense of life itself, for the name of this peace is death.